Hey everyone, it's Ron Milligan with RE/MAX Select here, and of course I've got the latest market statistics. I've got two sets today. One of them is from the RMLS, which is their market action, and that's the monthly set of statistics. And what we have right now are the stats for the month of September. And then of course I have my weekly updates on what's been going on week to week with our market. The market action is just for the Oregon side of the metro area. I don't know why they break that out, but they do. And of course my statistics, the week to week statistics, are for the entire metro area, including Oregon and Washington. So for the market action, I saw two things that were kind of interesting for the September statistics. One is that the inventory in months has increased again incrementally. We're at 1.1 months of inventory, previous month 1, before that 0.9, 0.8, and then 0.7, which was the low point in May. That's the lowest inventory we saw, and might actually have been the lowest inventory we've ever had, inventory in months that we've ever had in the metro area. And again, that's a measure of both buyer demand and supply. So supply and demand. Given no new listings, how long would it take to sell all of the active listings on the market at the current rate of sales? 1.1 months. Even though our inventory in months is increasing, we're still very, very heavily in seller's advantage territory. Analysts kind of debate over what the middle of the road is, neither a buyer's nor seller's market. 3 months of inventory, 4 months of inventory, 5, or traditionally it used to be 6, but that seems like it's a little too high. So I would say, a balanced market, neither buyer's nor seller's advantage, is probably somewhere between 4 to 6 months of inventory, and we're still at 1.1. The other thing that I thought was interesting was the average sale price is down to 17.5%. That number had been a little above 18 last month, and a little higher the month before that. That's kind of typical, in a normal market for Portland. Whoever knows what that is, I can't remember the last time we had a normal market, but like a normal market in Portland, our highest average sale price is typically a May or a June, and then the number decreases throughout the end of the year until we round the new year and start a new buying season, and it takes off again. So not a huge surprise to have that average sale price reducing. And then also that average sale price is a comparison of the first 9 months of last year to the first 9 months of this year. Keep in mind that January, February, really good months. March and April, not so good. May, so-so. June, things took off. So we have a couple of bad months that we're comparing to in 2020 versus 2021, which has had that crazy frenzy at the beginning of the year, and then a pretty good year following that. The weekly statistics had a couple of interesting things too, talking about that supply and demand dynamic again. On the number of active listings or supply, we've been seeing that number maybe turn a corner. So since around mid-March, we've been reporting that the number of active listings, we turned a different corner in mid-March, where the number of active listings had been decreasing and then started increasing. So mid-March, about 100 new listings, 100, not new listings, but 100 more active listings per week, give or take, plus or minus, week after week after week. It was like a very steady incremental rise in the number of active listings. 3 of the last 4 weeks, that number of active listings has decreased. Only once has it increased. One of the decreases was pretty significant. The other 2 were pretty small, pretty nominal decreases, so maybe more like holding steady than decreasing, but technically still a decrease in the number of active listings. So that may mean that we're starting to turn a corner as we head into winter, holiday season, where typically, and again, a normal, whatever that is, Portland market, the number of active listings and the number of new listings decreases, resulting in fewer and fewer active listings for buyers to choose from. That, coupled with some demand dynamics that are kind of interesting. So the buyer demand seems to be holding pretty steady. So we may be coming into time frame through the holidays and maybe through January where we've got, you know, not normal, but kind of steady buyer demand, not fluctuating too much, with a waning number of active listings for them to choose from. And that could be pushing us further back into seller's advantage territory. I don't think we're gonna have what we had this first year. I think we might have maybe a lighter version of what we experienced in the first quarter of 2021. I suspect that it's gonna be lighter and quicker and in sooner than it did. So something just to keep in mind. I'll keep an eye on those numbers. The other thing that sort of speaks to me, that says to me that we may be headed in that territory, in that direction, is the median list to sale price. So this is, I listed my home at $100,000. I ended up selling it for $102,000. I got 102% of my original asking price as the purchase price. So that number had been decreasing, you know, just kind of week after week after week, incremental numbers, real small. And last week, not last week, but the week before last, it was at 102%. And this last week, we saw it jump from 102% to 104%, which is a pretty significant jump. And what that means for the median. So what that means for that median is that half of the homes sold for more than 104% over the asking price, and half of the homes sold for under 104% above the asking price. And that, you know, what that could be is an indicator of where things are moving. Anecdotally, I did run into a listing, you know, and it was in that sweet spot, $450,000. It was in near Cedar Hills Boulevard on the west side, just north of the 26 highway. Some clients of mine flagged that. I called up the listing agent, and the listing agent already had 22 offers in hand. We haven't seen numbers like that since the beginning of the year. So it could be that maybe our pool of potential buyers is ramping back up. What we had been talking about earlier, where we had a bit of a summer slump, pent up demand, caged animal syndrome. I need to get off, have vacation. I'm sick of the market that we experienced at the beginning of this year. I need to take a break and enjoy my summer. Could be that those folks are returning to the pool of buyers after summer, and that's what we're running into right now. So 22 offers on a single home. We hadn't seen that for quite a while. Just anecdotal, but something that we'll keep an eye on. So I'll chat with you next week. And of course, as I say every week, all real estate is local. If you're curious about what's going on in your neck of the woods or your price point or your property type, just let me know. I'm happy to share what I know. All right, see you soon.